How fast can you export your raw audio files for your mixing engineer? Let's find out. And go. Done. So what went on there? Let's backtrack that a little bit and I'll show you everything. The basic concept of it is you just take your files and you drag them into a folder on your hard drive, wherever that folder is, however you name it, that's up to you. But over here you got your effects, your plugins, you got your instruments, you got Splice. One of those is files. This is your hard drive. So just create a folder on there to drag stuff into. You don't even have to open up your Finder window or whatnot. You can just right click on the actual file that you're on and go new folder and then name it. Personally, I like calling it MultiTracks because these are multitracks. If these were stems, a stem is like if you have the drums, the kick, the snare, a hi-hat, and everything is mixed down to one file, that is a stem. If you send the kick, the snare, the hi-hat as separate files so the mixing engineer can work on them separately, then those are multitracks. Now you know. Okay, so what did I do in that? So first off, you have to have the range tool. Different ways to get the range tool. You can either click range tool or number 2 on your keyboard, or if you're in the smart where it's all of them, it can be the top half of the audio channel. Anyways, you need to select them with the smart tool. The reason for this is if you select them with the arrow tool, this was a beat that was looped and I haven't bounced it. It's not one file. There's 20 plus files there. If I drag those into a folder, you're going to see that I got 1,000,000 beats. These are all each individual file. You don't want that. Well, in certain instances you might, but in this case you want just one big file. I'm just going to delete all these to make it easier to see. Delete file. I'm deleting the files in my new folder, which I created, and the files were created. This is not affecting my project at all. Okay, so here we have our folder now. It's empty. But if I use the range tool, select all your files. So you can see there was a punch in on this vocal over here, a couple in here. None of that matters because we selected it with the range tool. Then just take the arrow tool on any of the files, it doesn't matter, and click, hold, and drag it into there. And they're all right there. As easy as that. So one little note here, I did this on purpose. I created a couple situations so you can just see what would happen. First off, I put a MIDI channel, XO drums, and that was selected, and I dragged it in here, and you don't see it anywhere, do you? Because it's MIDI, you'd have to bounce it to audio if you want it to be exported like that. So don't worry about your MIDI tracks unless you want to worry about them and have that exported, in which case you need to render it to real audio first. The other thing I did was we did not use the mini Moog yesterday, and so that track is blank. If you have blank tracks, it's going to still export them, as you can see over here, mini Moog, and on them, I'll just pull it back in here. On them, there is no audio. I can zoom in really. No audio. So if you don't want to make blank files and confuse people when you send them, just hide or just select. You can do different selections, like I could just export those right now. One other note is you can see that I selected here and drag down. This would not get exported because this is the ending point. The starting point I dragged all the way to 0, so all these files would be here, but this would be missed out. So be careful when you're selecting it to actually get the whole file. One other note here, if you have a file, I'll just drag it onto this mini Moog. I'm going to go to my plugins and I'll just, don't ask me why, I'm going to put a bass plugin on it. So if you hit Alt on your keyboard, you can drag plugins right onto the audio. So on this mini Moog now, you can see the FX little chain. There is a bass amp on this audio, even though the audio is nothing right now. If I exported this, it would render it into the track. It would burn it right into the audio that's being exported. However, down in the plugin chain, if I had a bunch of plugins here, they would not be rendered. These are for the raw takes or if you have special effects on any of the specific audio. Now you know. Thanks for watching.